What if I told you that just when you thought Blood of My Blood had already reached its peak, Episode 4 came along and proved us all completely wrong? This series isn't slowing down. It's delivering one powerful installment after another, and it feels like we're experiencing the very best of Outlander all over again. What makes this chapter so special is the very first spark of connection between Julia and Ellen, two women who don't yet realize that their children will one day create one of the greatest love stories ever told. That single moment reshaped everything, laying the groundwork for Episode 5, where their bond will deepen into an unshakable friendship. But before we talk about what lies ahead, let's go back through Episode 4 because every single detail mattered. It all began with something that seemed so small, yet carried heavy meaning. Julia spilled her morning milk and panicked, convinced she had upset the fairy folk. Mistress Porter warned her to be cautious, so Julia left an offering at the old milking stone to protect herself, especially before Lord Lovat returned from Edinburgh. But while she wrestled with superstition, Julia was also haunted by her reality. She still didn't understand how she had ended up in this time, or if she would ever return to Henry. Her storyline continues to be one of the most heartbreaking parts of the show, and the flashbacks in this episode only made it more powerful. We saw Julia in her apartment, pregnant, asking Henry if they could name their child Peter if it was a boy. Henry, always hopeful, reassured her that all he wanted was for her and the baby to be safe. He believed the baby was a boy, while Julia dreamed of making Peter proud by going to college. She guided Henry's hand to her stomach as their baby kicked, and for a moment they were just a young couple in love, untouched by what was coming. Knowing that child will be Claire makes that moment even more devastating. Back in the present, Julia tried to protect herself from Lord Lovat's advances by rubbing poisoned sumac on her skin to give herself a rash. She asked to see an apothecary for treatment, and surprisingly, Lovat agreed, sending Brian to escort her. That journey led to one of the most meaningful conversations of the episode. Julia admitted she was pregnant while Brian confessed his insecurities about being a bastard with little to offer. Through that shared vulnerability, they built trust, and Brian promised to protect her, a powerful glimpse of his true character. Meanwhile, at Castle Leoch, Ellen was under her own pressures. Colum reminded her that Malcolm Grant expected her hand at Beltane, insisting that their clan's survival depended on the marriage. Ellen pushed back, knowing it would trap her in a life she didn't want. Colum stood firm, arguing that their father's poor decisions had left them little choice. As much as you sympathize with Ellen, you can understand Colum's logic. It's political survival. Still, Ellen's happiness feels worth more than strategy. The highlight of the episode came when Julia and Ellen made their secret plan. Seeing Ellen's pain, Julia urged her to follow her heart, and together they slipped away to meet Brian in the night. Brian and Ellen's declaration of love may have felt sudden, but it was raw and undeniable. They promised to meet again at Beltane, setting up one of the series' most crucial moments. Back at Castle Leoch, Julia's rash healed, and Lovat, calling her his English Rose, was quick to claim her. When she revealed her pregnancy, he seemed pleased, with Dina offering congratulations. Meanwhile, Henry's search for Julia continued. In one tense moment, he nearly mistook another woman for her in a brothel. For a moment it looked like he might falter, but his love for Julia was too strong. His loyalty makes his story so compelling. Henry also struggled with his duties for Clan Grant. Ordered to raise rents, he briefly followed Isaac Grant's harsh methods but ultimately chose compassion instead. His lottery system gave tenants fairness, something revolutionary for the time. Isaac hated the idea, but it showed how different Henry truly was. His choices triggered more PTSD flashbacks, and once again, Julia appeared as his anchor, singing to him, giving him a St. Anthony necklace, and reminding him that she loved the man he had become, not the man shaped by war. In one of the most emotional moments of the season, Henry promised that if the baby was a girl, they would name her Claire. That line alone was enough to bring tears. By the end of the episode, Julia and Brian struck a deal. She would help him with Ellen at Beltane if he helped her find Henry. Julia even risked slipping into Castle Leoch to pass Brian's message to Ellen, sealing an alliance between the two women. And that set the stage for what's coming next. Beltane will not end with vows. It will explode into chaos. Brian will attempt to steal Ellen away, Julia will be caught in the middle, and Henry will finally lay eyes on Julia again. But this reunion won't be simple. The truth about Julia's connection to Lovat will break Henry's heart and spark conflict between families. The only silver lining is Julia and Ellen's growing friendship. Their alliance will deepen as they begin secretly exchanging information, laying the foundation for something much bigger in the future. The question is, how messy will Beltane get? And will Julia and Henry's reunion be even more heartbreaking with Lovat's shadow looming over her? Share your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for weekly updates on Blood of My Blood. The next episodes are going to push every relationship we care about to the edge.